Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a most marvelous day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. Well, we know that many people in the world that we live in can be mean and cruel. But sometimes people do things and you just have to shake your head. When famous fashion designers show their winter, spring, summer, and fall collections on YouTube, I watch. I like watching those young women strutting down the runway in those fancy clothes. Nothing that I can afford or even would want to wear, but I still like looking at the clothes. And I have noticed in the last few years that there are a lot of African models on the runway walking the catwalk. And they are beautiful and they are doing just as well as everybody else. And it's good to see black women as a part of the glamour industry. They had started including black women in the fashion industry back in the 60s, 70s, and the 80s. That's when we had Beverly Johnson, Pat Cleveland, Billy Blair, and Albert Chin, and several others. And they were absolutely gorgeous. They came with their swagger, their attitude, their beauty. They even had a different way of walking. Models used to walk down the runway stiff and unmoving. They weren't walking with the pizzazz that they have now. Andre Leon Talley was the one that came with this swinging and strutting down the runway. But black American models first started doing it, and the designers didn't like it because they said they took the attention away from the clothes. The attention is supposed to be on the clothes, not the models. So somewhere along the way, they decided they weren't going to use any black models. They would pick one or two to work all of the fashion shows. All of the designers would use those one or two. And if they weren't available, they would just use all white models. Now we know they wanted to keep the fashion industry white. The models, the face of beauty in the West is a white blonde-haired woman. So they wanted to keep that as the standard. That was a part of it too. We can't ever leave that out. So they stopped using black American models, and Iman and Beth Ann Hardison, who were models themselves, and we know that Iman was a supermodel, they put the industry on blast. They formed an organization called Black Girls Coalition, and that was to put pressure on the fashion industry to hire black models, more than one or two, to participate in the fashion business because black people buy clothes too. And this brings us to today's video. You know that our countrymen are always trying to be slick. So black people said, we want some black models. And they said, okay, I'll give you some black models. So listen to this.
An investigation has exposed modeling agencies for recruiting refugees from Africa and exploiting them by taking young people from impoverished African countries and sending them to Europe for casting. And if these girls are found to be unsuccessful, they return them back home. Not just return them back home, but also return them back home with debt for what they have invested in them and what it has cost them to take them from Africa to those European countries, and for their photo shoot and whatever that they have done beforehand, they are charging them, even though they know that these girls have nothing. That's why in the first place they have targeted them. And also South Sudanese women are the center of attention in the modeling industry because of their features and how tall they are and how slim they are. They prefer them and their look. So what they do is, instead of hiring the girls that are already there or recruiting them properly, they go to refugee camps like the one in Kenya called Kakuma refugee camp, and is found in the northwestern Turkana County. And they find these girls, these young vulnerable girls that don't have anywhere else to live other than the refugee camp. They promise them the world and take them to Europe. Once they're done with them, or once it doesn't work out, they bring them back, dump them, and give them an invoice to pay them back, knowing that they can't pay them back. How cruel can you get? This is so low. How low can you get? And on top of this, these girls now have to live with the trauma, and people believe that they have money since they went to Europe and come back. They made their lives way harder than it was.
The women on the screen are South Sudanese women, and these are the preferred models now, because of their tall, slender bodies. So these are the women that they're going into the refugee camps and bringing to Europe and the United States, promising that they're going to make them models, and some of them become successful models. But if they don't, they send them back to those refugee camps, and they have to pay the people who took them out, pay them back for the expense of traveling to Europe, for the photo shoot, for clothing, for food, anything that they spent on them in Europe or the United States. Those women are expected to pay that money back in a refugee camp. So this report is indicting a major organization, an organization that was founded to help families in crisis. It calls itself United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund. But what they're doing is going over there exploiting those young women. You have to be really, really low to do something like that. Now we know that that's one of the reasons why they're getting those African models. They are working for less money. They are not paying them what they will have to pay an American model. And if they complain, they send them back to the refugee camp with a bill. And the thing about it is they don't have to be but so selective, because they all are tall and skinny. They have the look that the fashion industry wants because it's cheap labor. So they have these articles now with these South Sudanese women. They're telling us now that this is what black beauty is. But that's a cover-up for the fact that they are getting the work done for less money and no mouth. And I guarantee they're telling those young women, do not associate with those black Americans. And you know why? Because those black Americans are going to tell them that they are cheating you. They are actually exploiting these young women. And they're not really making any money. They're working, but they're not making that much money. Some of them might be making money, but they are still trying to get free labor out of black people. And that's just the bottom line. But anyway, I got this from the African Diaspora channel. It just seems like the hardest thing in the world for those African countries to get stable so that their people can thrive and succeed and not always be exploited. Western civilization, they're supposed to be the most civilized people on earth. And it would be really good if they were. If they could function without bothering other people. They're always looking for a free lunch. They are always looking for a free lunch. And this is a major organization that is supposed to be helping children in emergency situations and families in emergency situations. And what are they doing? They are exploiting these people. And this is another phase of the destruction of Africa. People in refugee camps getting exploited. What a shame, what a shame. Okay, y'all, let me know what you think about the video. Thank you for listening. Subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, share the video, and as always, have a great day.